Hi, I'm Lissy and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I will be recommending some historical / costume and period type dramas that I think are worth watching. So if you're interested in these type of videos and dramas, go ahead and keep watching. So before we get started in this list, I want to go ahead and say that all of these dramas can be found on Rakuten Viki. I think that's how you pronounce the app's name. I think so. But you can find all of these shows on Viki, and I believe you can watch them for free, but with ads if you don't have like the membership thing. But I'm desperate to watch all of these shows, so I do pay for the membership. I want to talk about these dramas without really spoiling them for you, so I'm just gonna kind of give just a basic description so you know what the show is about. So this list is not in any particular order, but I'm gonna go ahead and start off with the first historical type drama that I ever watched, and that is none other than Ashes of Love. What can I say about this show? So Ashes of Love has 60 episodes, and it follows Jinmi, a frost flower whose fate was decided before she was even born. So her mom thought that it would be best for her daughter, Jinmi, to navigate the world without feeling basically love and emotions, because the mom went through some things. So yeah, you know how that works. So we basically get to see how Jinmi goes through the world without having the understanding of emotions, and that is until she meets the fire immortal, who basically rocks her world. So there is a love triangle in this show that involves Jinmi, the fire immortal, and his brother, the night immortal. So I think that's kind of interesting. So their love triangle is very messy. It's very violent and it's very bloody, to say. Yeah. She's faced with a lot of hardships, and after a certain thing happens, she is able to feel emotions and everything. So I believe she kind of matures. So yeah, I think this show was very memorable for me. The plot was very memorable. I know I didn't really tell you guys too much about the plot, but I believe you should go watch it. And I don't want to spoil it for you before you watch it. So yeah, the show is very memorable for me. It was my first drama of this type of genre. Before I even got into these type of dramas, I thought those episodes were crazy. The amount of episodes scared me off. Like, each episode is an hour. There's 60 episodes minimum. It was just very overwhelming for me, but I went ahead and watched this show because the plot it just sounded so amazing to me. So yeah, the show was, like I said, the show was memorable. I think they had some beautiful costumes in this show, and yeah, the lead, I remember reading that reading some reviews about the show, and people would be like, they find Jinmi's character annoying and blah blah blah, but I think that's kind of the point. She's kind of meant to be childish. So if you can kind of get past that aspect, I think you're gonna love this show. And it's one of my top. I would rewatch, but I just don't have the time to sit through a show that I've already seen once with that amount of episodes. So yeah, moving on. So next on my list is in my top 2, and it's not number 2. And that is Eternal Love, or I believe an alternative title is 10 Miles of Peach Blossoms. And I love this show. I'm gonna just go ahead and say it's a 10 out of 10. I love the plot of the show. I loved how they told the story of this show. The description is long and I can't remember it off the top of my head. So yeah, pause to read that. Another long show. So if you are intimidated by long shows, I'm sorry, but these shows might not be for you. So this was another long show with about 58 episodes. And I don't know what that was. And yeah, like I said, this is another long show with 58 episodes. And honestly, in the beginning, I did not like it. It's, you know, like when you start a show, just you watch a couple episodes to kind of feel it out, and that kind of determines whether you drop a show or not. So honestly, I kind of dropped it. And then like a couple weeks later, I went back just to finish the show, and honestly, I fell in love. The story evolved into so much more than I thought it would be originally. But I guess the first arc is needed to kind of understand how the rest of the show progresses and why it progresses like that. If that makes sense. So I will say a lot of these male leads, their characters get on my last nerve. I'm just gonna say it. You know, there were some questionable moments in the show where I was like, you know what, you're done, you're done. But I'm gonna say, you know, he kind of redeemed himself at the end for me. But there were some things that he should never allowed. I'm just gonna say that. I'm not gonna spoil it for you though. That moment where our female lead got back what was rightfully hers, chef's kiss. I live for that moment, okay? And you will too, because you just get that, you get that moment of like, that sigh of relief, you know, you can finally relax. Plot is over. Nah, not really, but I love costume and period dramas. I really do. But I love them even more when Yang Mi is the female lead. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. But I really love when she's the lead in these dramas. She is the queen of like these costume and period type dramas. I know there's another word for like the actual genre of these shows, but I don't want to butcher it. I'm just gonna probably insert it here. Yeah, she's the queen of these. I'm sorry, she's my queen of costume and period dramas. Oh, I'm watching another show of hers that's like airing now. It's called Novaland, and I'm obsessed already. But that show's not on this list. I'm getting sidetracked. So yeah, this drama, like I said, is a 10 out of 10. Go ahead and watch it. Costumes are beautiful. Chemistry was great. Music was good. It could be a bit slow though. So other than that, chef's kiss. Speaking of Yang Mi, she's in the next drama I'm going to mention, which is The Legend of Fuyao, of course. So I'm going to enter the description again because, yeah, pause to read. I think this was a well-balanced drama as well. It was a bit slow too. Not gonna lie, a lot of these shows are kind of slow. I believe that a lot of these shows could have been wrapped up with less episodes, but I digress. Legend of Fuyao had some very good fighting scenes, and she wasn't weak, and I really love that out of a female lead. Actually, all of these shows, all of our female leads, they are not weak by any means. They may be a bit naive, but they aren't weak. They can fight, and they have the power to fight, and I really appreciate that out of shows. The Legend of Fuyao, I don't think there was any like of those stupid misunderstandings. That's what I can appreciate about this show as well, is there's no like overly dramatic misunderstanding that happens between the female lead and the male lead, which I also love, because some of those misunderstandings are just like, what's the point? The ending of this show was very questionable. It was very questionable. I don't know why they decided to end the show like that and just confuse the heck out of everyone. But once of course I had to Google it and see like what was really going on at the end of the show. But if you Google it, you'll get the answer that you can kind of think what happened. But I'm not gonna lie, I thought they was done for. I honestly did. I give the show like a 7 out of 10. I know I really wasn't ranking these shows, but I would give the show like a 7 out of 10. I knocked the point off for that ending. So the next drama is quite similar to Legend of Fuyao in the aspect of save the girl or save the world, and that drama is none other than Love and Destiny. So this drama basically follows the god of war and a young maiden whose very existence is a threat to the world. This is another long show, so be prepared for that. I'm not gonna lie, I do not care for this trope anymore. The whole save the world, save the girl. I don't really care for it. It's been done. I don't know why we have to keep seeing it, but I'm gonna watch anyways. This show is kind of underrated as well. I don't really see people talk about this show in comparison to like Eternal Love. I did like this show. I really did. I like all shows. I don't have that many shows where I just inherently hate them. Yeah, like they really have to work hard for me to hate the show. The female lead, Nini, she was very beautiful in the show. She's a very beautiful woman. She was very beautiful, and I think they really made her beauty shine in this show. Like, she was so eloquently beautiful in this show. Like, she just was radiant. I don't know, just my opinion. So something that I noticed in the show is that their age gap in real life is like 10 years. In the show, their characters, he felt so much older than her. Why did I feel that way? I don't know, it's just very noticeable. And I guess that's kind of attributed to the fact that he's at least 50,000 years old, because he was in like that deep slumber for at least 50,000 years, so he's at least that old. But yeah, he just felt old. And it's not a bad thing. I like this show. It was good. It's worth watching, in my opinion. In these dramas, I know I said earlier about the trope of save the girl or save the world, but has there ever been like a drama where the male lead actually sacrifices the female lead for the greater good of the world? I don't think that's ever happened. Like, they always find a way to save both. And I think it would be kind of interesting to end in a different way and have a show that actually ends in the guy picking the world over the girl. And yeah, I know that'll be emotional, but I think it's worth watching. I love to see a variety of endings. Oh, speaking of tropes, another trope that I am a bit over is the fact that, like, at the end of these shows, like, one of the characters just disappears. Like, they have like the big fight at the end, and the character either like dies and like their soul is scattered, and they like takes years for them to like come back, or like something that along the lines of that. And I'm a bit over that ending. Like, sometimes it's okay just to let them die. I know that's really morbid to say, but sometimes just let them die. Let the other character, have that agony of not having their partner ever again. Once you start watching these shows, they do become repetitive. They end the same way, big fight at the end, and then boom, one of them goes missing, and boom, we got the kids, and blah, blah, blah. So yeah. Now, the last show on this list is quite questionable. I even debated putting it on this list of recommendations, but the only saving grace of this show is that it's like 36 episodes. For that reason right there, I'm gonna put it on this list, because you're not gonna waste a lifetime watching this show compared to the others. If you're gonna have a show with 60 episodes, it better be good. It better end good. That show is Dance of the Phoenix. But yeah, I loved this show until I hated it. Like I said earlier, it takes a lot for me to hate a show. And honestly, it had so much potential. It had the potential. We had a strong female lead. We had a good plot. We had a good male lead. We had good chemistry. But it got lost at the end. You know what? Everyone involved in this show just said, you know what? Let's just end it here. We don't need to wrap up any storylines. We don't need to give the viewer no answers. We're just gonna end it here. That's what everyone involved said. The actors, the director, the writers, everyone just said, you know what? We're done. We're done. And how did no one question that? That's my concern. Like, how did this pass? It went through so many people, I imagine. How did it end here? Someone comment down below if you've seen this show, if you watched this show. How did we end here? How do you have a show that builds up so much with such like a good plot, and you just let it go down the drain? There were just so many unanswered questions. We don't get that moment of relief. I just don't understand. So like I said, the only reason I'm even recommending it is because of it had the potential, it had a good plot, and it's shorter than the rest of the shows. So they had good moments together. They had the good fighting scenes, the male lead and the female lead together fighting the enemy. They had some good kissing scenes. We all love a good kissing scene. It adds to the show. yeah, but the show just lost major points for me for the ending. Like, up until exactly the ending, like, I did not know I would hate this show until the very end. Like, that's what kind of irritates me about it, but I'm gonna recommend it because I did like it overall and I enjoyed watching it. But that end, it just lost major points for me. I'm having hope for this show to have a second season because we need answers. We need to know why this happened. We need the answer to the big question. But as you know, a lot of these shows do not get second seasons. And yeah, that's all I can really say about this show. If you can get past the fact that you might be disappointed at the end, go ahead and watch this show. You know, it's a quick watch. Why would they do that? Why would I do that? I'm like worked up just thinking about it all over again. Like, when I was like actually actively watching this show, I was livid. I was like, why did I just waste my life? Why did I just waste hours on this show to only be let down? Like, nobody wants to feel that. So yeah, if you're still here, the 5 shows that are on this recommendation list is Ashes of Love, Eternal Love, Love and Destiny, Legend of Fu Yao, and Dance of the Phoenix. I hope I listed all that right. Of course, my number 1 pick of this list is none other than Eternal Love, of course. So I'm just gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. This genre of shows is by far one of my favorite. I love snuggling up in bed, lights off, and just watching these shows. They're just so comfortable and cozy to me for some reason. There's a very cozy element to these shows. Oh, I could easily sit through 20 episodes in one day. Like, when I'm committed to a show, I'm committed. I watch it like crazy. I don't recommend watching like crazy though, because I've experienced burnout. I would literally sit and binge watch a show, episode after episode after episode. Then the next day, I just can't find myself to go back and watch that show. So I would watch all of these shows on a decent pace. Do not be like me. Yeah. So if you enjoyed this video, I hope you give me a like and go ahead and subscribe and comment your favorite historical / costume and period drama. I'd really love to know. So yeah, I guess that's it. Bye guys.